In 1877, the tradition of Westminster began, and for 122 years it has continued, an uninterrupted model of excellence. When the show first began, General George A. Custer, and there you see him, had just made his last stand. Thomas Edison, the world's greatest inventor, completed the phonograph.
First words I spoke in the original phonograph. Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow.
You ever forget that? And Rutherford B. Hayes, president of the then 38 United States, just had the first telephone installed into the White House. For the dog world, Westminster knows no equal. Coveted by all, but conquered by a precious few. Each year, Westminster welcomes 2,500 champions. But as we all know, crowns only one Best in Show. When Westminster began in New York City, not one of the Yankees' famed Murderers Row had been born. Not Lou Gehrig, not Babe Ruth. The New York World newspaper had not yet published the first crossword puzzle. And Lady Liberty had not begun welcoming visitors to the New York Harbor. And tonight, one of the oldest competitions in all of sport again crowns its champion of champions, Best in Show. And what a sight. As USA Sports presents the 122nd Annual Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show. From Madison Square Garden in New York, the world's most famous arena, it's the big night, the Best in Show. And we're all looking forward to it. So are the dogs. They came early. They have been brushed. They have been groomed. They're nervous. The handlers are nervous. The owners are nervous. It's a big night as they all work towards one goal, Best in Show. And that's the trophy that will signify Best in Show. And the ribbons, of course, you take those home and you are, well, you're a champion when you come in, but you're a bigger champion when you leave here. Have you got one of those, David?
No kidding, Joe.
My name is Joe Garagiola. This is David Fry. Alex Wilson is with us. We'll be your host for tonight, and it'll be an exciting night as we work Best in Show. That's the road we're taking. David, last night you were 3 for 4. What about tonight?
Tonight, Joe, it'll be a little more difficult. The first dog up in the sporting group, I'm going to pick the Gordon Setter. This is a dog that last year's Best in Show judge said would have gotten the second place ribbon in Best in Show had she had one to give, and of course she doesn't, but that's my favorite in the sporting group. Here's the Beagle. This is my pick for America, the 13-inch Beagle. Think of Linus and Snoopy and Charlie Brown and the gang. Look for that dog in the Hound group. Here's the German Shepherd. That'll be my pick in the herding group. Let's find out which of these 3 dogs gets to, if any, gets to join our winners from last night. The Alaskan Malamute, the Norwich Terrier, the Miniature Poodle, and the Standard Poodle.
You call that an easy night last night.
Well, I think there were a couple of them that were right there in my wheelhouse, Joe. I was happy with one pick, which was a bit of a surprise, and I was surprised by another result, but you know the only surprise here, if there are no surprises.
You're too humble. We're working towards the Best in Show, and this is the road to glory, David.
There you go. Started out with 153 breeds. The breed winners all advanced to their groups, 7 different groups. The 7 group winners come together at the end tonight to compete for that coveted Best in Show. Here's what we'll see tonight, Joe. The sporting group leads it off, followed by the Hound group, the herding group, and then Best in Show. Now, when these judges go to work tonight, you'll notice them. They'll be consistent in their pattern, how they look at every dog. First of all, they need to know the standard for each breed because you have to compare each breed to an ideal specimen of that breed. Your first look, you'll stand back, get a look of the overall balance of the dog and some general impressions. Then you move up, put your hands on the dog, examine it head to tail. You need to find out what's under that coat. You need to check the muscle tone and conditioning and just find out what's under all that. Then we're going to watch them move. They'll watch them move down away from them and back to them. Then they'll take a look at them going around the ring and try to get some impressions on how all of it fits together.
Okay, and as always, Alex Wilson is in the middle of things. Let's see what she's up to. Alex?
Thank you very much, Joe. Well, as always, I'll be talking to some of the winners tonight, some of the handlers, and some of the anxious owners as they get ready to see their dogs competing. But it occurred to me that there are so many magical moments throughout these 2 days in New York that we don't get to see tonight in the show. And I wanted to share one of those that I was privy to yesterday with you. As I came around the corner of an absolutely packed ring during the day session yesterday, I came upon a young child and his mother was holding the dog. They had just come out of competing in the ring. And no, they did not win, but the child looked up into his mother's eyes with a tear running down his face, and he said, "Mom, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my whole life." He was about 7 years old, and no, they didn't win, but they did compete at Westminster. And Joe, I think that's really what this show exemplifies, don't you?
I agree with you 100%, Alex. You can learn to win, but you have to learn how to lose, and that youngster learned a very valuable lesson. Well, tonight is the big night, though. A lot of excitement. Best in Show is the way to end, and you're looking at some that'll be there. We'll be right back after this.
USA Sports special presentation of the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show is brought to you by the Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac. Wider is better. And by Pedigree Food for Dogs. Developed with vets. Recommended by top breeders.
This little girl is 16 days old, but she has actually been getting Pedigree Puppy for more than 9 weeks already.
Dr. Fran Smith, veterinarian and top breeder.
That's because their mother was fed Pedigree Puppy throughout her entire pregnancy. Once the puppies are done weaning, they start on their own Pedigree Puppy food. It has all 5 building blocks of good nutrition. I wouldn't feed my puppies anything except Pedigree Puppy food.
Developed with the vets at the Waltham Center. Pedigree, recommended by top breeders.
The first monuments built for the pharaohs were impressive, but unpredictable. Eventually, they designed a wider base for better balance, proving that wider is better.
The writing's on the wall with the Wide Track Grand Prix Sports Sedan. Its unique Wide Track design sets the wheels wider for better balance and monumental control.
The inscriptions still read, Ne first occur a cap ne bet.
Wider is better. The Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac.
Dogs have an uncanny sense of hearing, but they can't tell you if running, climbing, or even walking hurts or makes them stiff. So it's up to you. To help keep your dog active and healthy, ask your veterinarian how Rimadyl has relieved arthritis pain for more than 500,000 dogs. As with other pain relievers in this class, digestive and liver side effects may occur, available by prescription only.
You can visibly reduce the signs of aging on your hands with Neutrogena New Hands. The pro-retinol formula diminishes fine lines, reduces the look of age spots, restores a more youthful tone. Reveal younger-looking hands with Neutrogena New Hands.
You can feel it start to burn. All you can think about is getting rid of it quickly. Finally, I asked my doctor. He said my Lanta was made to work fast where heartburn hurts most, all through here. My doctor said my Lanta.
That guy had his hands full, didn't he?
That's one of those famous New York dog walkers, like Nate on Mad About You.
A good crowd on hand here as they get ready for Best in Show. A lot of excitement as we're all waiting, anticipating. And what's it like? You've been in that kind of a situation, I know.
Well, I wish I'd been out here on this green carpet with some of these guys, but It's very exciting. This is what we all come here for, Joe, is to watch this. If we don't get in it, we want to watch it, and there's a lot of people in the dog world watching, a lot of people at home watching too. We hope we can give them something exciting.
I met an owner whose dog will be in tonight, will be here. She was so excited that she could not watch her dog win, and she was back in the runway. Is that typical, David?
No, I think most people can watch their dogs. There are some dogs that are out there maybe with a handler, whether it's the husband or the wife or the child or whatever, and there's a child right there with his dog, but they hide. They don't want the dog to see them. You see how they can be distracted. We're about to get the sporting group in there, Joe.
26 breeds and varieties. Originally bred to hunt game on land and water. Has won Best in Show 15 times. That's not even close to the Terriers.
The Terriers certainly are the New York Yankees of the Westminster Kennel Club, but we've had some great sporting dogs through the years go Best in Show here. The last one was the great Robert back in 1993. There's the Vizsla waiting to come in.
And there is Roger Karras, the official voice of Westminster Kennel Club.
Dr. McGivern, sir, may we have the sporting group into the ring, please?
Here they come. Here they come, Joe. You can hear the reaction of the crowd. Yesterday being a holiday and everything, Joe, Chet Collier, the president of Westminster, told us that the attendance yesterday was greater than the 2 days for the show combined last year. Unbelievable crowd.
Well, I know just sitting in the stands, it seemed like it was really crowded, and obviously it was.
Well, it's a great educational experience if you're thinking about getting a dog to come to a dog show, especially a bench show like Westminster, but any dog show, and spend some time visiting with the breeders and the owners and the handlers and finding out about some of these dogs. If you're looking for a dog, work hard to get a dog that matches your lifestyle. A dog's going to live with you for a long time, so don't buy an impulse. Take your time, do your homework, come visit us. We'll be happy to talk to you.
Can you detect any kind of an emotion there? I mean, it's hard, but you've been around dogs all your life.
Well, you saw the dogs come charging into the ring. The handlers like that opportunity to loosen them up a little bit, like running onto the field, you know, getting ready and stretched out and warmed up a little bit. Once they get there, it's time to settle down. Look at the golden retriever on your screen. Whoa. It's a beautiful dog.
They're all beautiful. It's so redundant to say it.
Well, you know, we talk about this, and we hear on occasion somebody referring to it as a beauty contest. It really isn't a beauty contest per se, because there really isn't a definition of beauty. These judges are judging each dog against its standard, which is a written description of the ideal specimen of the breed. You have to know, you can't judge a Cocker Spaniel against a pointer. They're just too different. You're judging the Cocker Spaniel against the ideal version of the Cocker, and so on. Mr. Clark's getting his first half of the group ready.
The Brittany, as its name implies, originated in France. How many centuries ago is not known. The breed is very much like the setters in size and in performance. He was considered the world's only pointing spaniel until a few years ago, when the word spaniel was dropped from his name. This is a versatile dog in the field, like most European gun dogs, and works well as a retriever. He's one of America's most popular hunting dogs, although known here only since the early 1930s. This is Brittany, number 6.
One of the most popular sporting dogs, Joe. Does a little bit of everything.
As we have been doing in the past, the other voice you heard was that of the judge. Roger was describing, and the judge you heard give the instructions.
These dogs are a nice size. They're sort of between the setters and the spaniels.
Right around, please.
Here's Pilot for owner Beverly Perdue. Houston Clark, our judge, one of the great handlers in our sport. We'll talk about him a little bit more later.
The pointer is one of the oldest sporting breeds. The first dependable reference to the breed appeared in England about 1650. It is believed that the breed was in use on the continent long before that. As his name implies, the pointer points with his nose. His work is now, and probably always has been, finding game in open country. He searches for game using his highly developed sense of smell, and having found it, freezes into that classical point. A pointer named Sensation is the club emblem of Westminster. This is pointer number 43.
Very athletic looking dog, Joe. You can see maybe it has a little bit of hound behind it, but it's a very swift running dog. You see Peter Green there. He's trying to get his second group of the show. One, of course, the Terrier group last night. There's one of the owners, Frank Apollo, I believe.
The German shorthair pointer with his webbed feet is a retriever on land and in the water. He was developed in Germany and Austria in the 19th century and is almost certainly the descendant of an old Spanish pointer, the English foxhound, and some form of scenthound, although we have no idea what hound that might be. When he first appeared in America in the 1920s, his popularity was quick in coming. He's easily trained, is an exceptionally fine all-around hunting dog. He makes a good family companion as well, but he must have exercise regularly. This is German shorthair pointer number 6.
David, going back to Peter Green, I must have seen him in the ring 5 or 6 times today.
A lot of these professional handlers come in here, they have anywhere from 5 to 20 some dogs. And they stay busy all day. They've got a lot of people working for them and helping them out. This dog is Chief. Joe, this dog had a bout of Lyme's disease. Got well just in time to get here for the garden.
The development of the German wirehead pointer began around 1870. He's one of several European retrieving pointers of this design, but unlike some of the others, he has a water-repellent coat. This is a rugged hunter that can work any kind of terrain. He's been used in a variety of game. He is probably descended from the pointer, the foxhound, and just possibly the poodle. He has traits of all three. He is easily trained and is a fine companion, as well as a field hand. This is German wirehead pointer number 14.
This dog was 3rd in the group last year. This is Storm.
Are there any tip-offs that a handler or a dog would give David to indicate any kind of an emotion? It doesn't have to be.
Any kind of what, Joe?
I mean, you know, an emotion like being nervous or whatever.
Yeah, you can see it, you can read it, you can feel it as a handler. It's your job to know what's right for your dog.
The history of the Chesapeake can be traced to 1807. A British ship, tradition has it, was wrecked off the coast of Maryland, and 2 of the survivors were Newfoundland dogs, probably unlike the ones we know today. The shoremen bred the survivors to retrievers that had been used around the Chesapeake for years. We know practically nothing about that retriever, and so goes the story. We can determine that by 1855, a definite type had evolved, has become known for its hardy nature and its indifference to rough, icy waters, conditions found in the Great Bay during duck hunting season. This breed is easily trained and can make a good companion, as well as a superior field dog. This is Chesapeake Bay Retriever number 6.
Here's Rocky with breeder-owner handler Diane Baldwin. Joe, we talk about breeder-owner handlers. There's a lot of professional handlers in the game, and they're very talented and very good, but the beauty of the sport is that you can get right in there with the professionals side by side and compete with them and be just as successful as they are. It's a beautiful dog. They come in a wide range of colors. This dark brown is really pretty.
Toward the middle of the 19th century, Water Spaniel, some earlier form of retriever, a setter, and a small version of the Newfoundland dog known as the St. John's dog, and just possibly some poodle genes were mixed to achieve what we now know as the curly-coated retriever. They arrived here from England in 1907. It's still not well known here, although these dogs are exceptionally powerful in the water and outstanding sportsmen. This is one of the oldest breeds classified as a retriever, although less than 150 years old. This is curly-coated retriever number 7.
You know what surprised me more than anything is the great condition of their teeth.
We got a good shot of their
great teeth. Yeah, I mean, they're in great. They must floss at night.
Well, the handlers and the groomers work with scalers to help keep them clean, but there are a lot of tricks, and that's part of the condition that we talk about.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
This dog, don't look over your shoulder, Ben, but this dog's won 6 breeds here at Westminster. Tempest, owned by Gary and Mary Meek from Holland, Michigan.
The flat-coated retriever was developed in England about a century ago, but it is generally accepted that most of the foundation stock came from American breeds. Those ancestors included the now extinct St. John's Labrador and the Newfoundland. Gordon Setter, Irish Setter, and some French water dog were added along the way. Today's flat-coated retriever is sturdy and has a close, dense coat. That coat is not supposed to be wavy. Acceptable colors are black and liver, with only an occasional hint of white on the chest tolerated. This is flat-coated retriever number 15.
I love this breed, Joe, but all my flat coat friends tell me not to tell the world about them because they want to keep them a secret.
Why?
Well, they're a great family dog, but they don't want to get into a situation where too many people want them because they think they're popular, not because they're the right dog for them. They're a very active dog, high energy, and they're not a dog for everybody. They're beautiful.
The Golden Retriever was developed from the flat-coated Retriever and the Tweed Spaniel. That single breeding produced 4 puppies that were to leave their paw prints all over canine history. They were the foundation stock for one of the most beloved dogs in the world. The Golden's drive and pace, his keen sense of smell and soft mouth, and high style all reflect his generations as a sporting dog. Still widely used in the field, the breed has become one of the most popular companion dogs of all time. The Golden performs well in obedience work, and every year, more and more are trained to lead the blind. This is Golden Retriever, number 17.
Roger talks about him being a great companion. I've seen my little granddaughter, little Maria, lay on the dog's belly, and Flashy would be wide awake and just loves the kids.
I tell you, I love this breed too, Joe. It's really amazing to me that we've never had a Golden go best in show here at Westminster.
That would be my vote.
Well, could be. It's got as good a shot as just about anybody. I think the Gordon's going to be tough to beat here, though.
The Labrador Retriever is not a product of Labrador, but rather of Newfoundland. It is generally believed his early assignment was to help fishermen pull their nets. English breeders visiting the Maritimes in 1820 saw the breed at work and brought some back to England with them. It was there the breed as we know it was developed. Today, the Labrador is one of the most popular retrieving dogs in the world and one of the most beloved companion animals. Like the Golden, the Labrador is now one of the main breeds used for leading the blind. This is Labrador Retriever number 16.
I think you take a look at the Labrador, and it illustrates the expression that when you say something stupid, the dog looks at you and wags its tail. That's one of the great things about owning dogs, and this Labrador, his tail never stops. He always looks very pleased with himself and happy to be around you.
The English Setter was at work as a bird dog in England well over 400 years ago. It's quite likely that the original Old English Setter had the genes of Spanish Pointer and several kinds of Spaniel. The dog we know today was developed during the 19th century, and the records show that the first of its kind seen in this country came over a little after 1870. The Setter's job in the field is to locate quarry, stand frozen in place, while the hunter shoots over him. This is a breed of exceptional beauty and style. This is English Setter, number 25.
That handler, he had him clamped shut, yet when he took off, he kissed him.
You want to keep the dog's attention all the time, Joe, and if that's the way you're going to get him to stand there while the judge goes over him,
Thank you, sir. Right around.
Doesn't hurt the dog, keeps his attention on you. Here's a beautiful, elegant dog. See the strength and the stamina that they'll need in the field.
The Gordon Setter is a product of Scotland, named after the Duke of Gordon. The breed was developed in the late 1700s. The world's first recorded dog show took place in Newcastle in 1859, not all that long before the first Westminster show, and a Gordon was chosen best setter in show. The breed was registered here in 1883, making it one of the earliest breeds established here. And just to make it one of the most historically interesting breeds, the Gordons were first imported into the United States by a dog fancier named Daniel Webster. This is Gordon setter number 18.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to say it. If you clamp my mouth shut and you start poking around when these judges poking around, you're going to have a problem on your hands, and yet they're the epitome of poise. They don't even move.
It's part of the process, Joe. Some of these great dogs that we're seeing these last 2 nights have been to something like 150 dog shows in the last year. They understand what goes with it. And they'll stay there and keep their attention. You just give them a little treat every once in a while. Let them come home, sleep on a couch. And they'll love you. Here's Kirby with handler Ken Murray, my favorite in the group, one of the top dogs in the country.
The splendid Irish setter was first developed in its native island home in the 19th century. The breed was probably built up from English setter, some spaniel that we no longer know, and some pointer stock. He was brought to this country as a gun dog, but his happy nature and good looks soon made him popular in the show ring and as a companion animal of enormously high style.
Out, straight back, please.
The rich mahogany coat that is so distinctive today was originally red and white. This is Irish setter number 16.
Great camera work, guys. We're really getting some close-ups of some things that you just wouldn't see if you weren't watching us, and we're working towards best in show, so I know we'll be with you all night long.
This dog has a bit of a heritage here. Its father won Best of Breed in Group 4 last year here at Westminster. Robin Novak handling. See how Robin's got the nice white suit to contrast with a red dog.
Thank you, ma'am. Right around.
Riley. Sometimes, Joe, if you're not real happy, excited about your dog's top line, you might want your suit to blend in with the dog's color.
The American Water Spaniel originated in the American Midwest and is one of the few American originals in dogdom. Irish Water Spaniels almost certainly figured in, as did the curly-coated Retriever. In the field, the American Water Spaniel is used in all kinds of birds as well as rabbit, and is equally at home on land or in the water. He does point a mark aim, but as befits the Spaniel part of his heritage, he springs it. This is American Water Spaniel number 6.
Here's Storm Joe. Carlos Puig, the handler, told me that this dog actually flushed and caught a pheasant in midair while he was at a dog show.
You've got to be kidding.
You know, we don't always get a chance to see the dogs doing what they were bred to do, but they still retain the ability to do that.
Caught it in midair.
Midair.
If that dog can hit, we got a job for him. We'll be back with more. It's going to be exciting. Stay with us. Alaskan Malamute champ Nanook Take No Prisoners did just that. He hopes to become the first Alaskan Malamute to win Best in Show. Next was the winningest group in Westminster history, and they pranced onto the carpet. And when the judging was complete, a pregnant Norwich Terrier, call named Rocky, was the last one standing. Champion Dignity of Jewelry House Yoko, you just won the toy group. What are you going to do? Well, he's going to Japan with his owners who are natives of that country. But first he looks to win Best in Show and go back to Japan with his version of the gold medal. The night ended with a happy Dennis McCoy, the proud handler of a standard poodle, Champion Lake Love, that's my boy. Trey looks ahead to the breed's 4 all-time Best in Show victories. And now these 4 dogs await tonight's winners to see who becomes Best in Show.
And those 4 dogs come in here and they're benched all day long, sitting over all by themselves. They don't have to be groomed. They don't have to get to do anything else. They just sort of sit there and wait.
The Clumber Spaniel is another product of England, but is unlike any other breed that bears the label Spaniel in both style and manner. He is a long, low, heavy-set animal, up to 85 pounds in the male, that suggests that Basset or one of the French or Danish Basset breeds is in his background. He's characteristically a slow, deliberate worker of field, but is always dependable. He is sedate, dignified, if you will, and just a wee bit dour. His silky coat is dense and white with orange 11 markings. This is Clumber Spaniel, number 16.
Remember our great Clumber Spaniel 2 years ago, Brady, that went Best in Show here. It's a screamer who went Best of Breed here last year.
All right, thank you, sir.
Back for a second shot. You can hear our judge, Houston Clark, giving him instructions.
The Cocker was evolved in America as the smallest of the sporting breeds. He was developed from the English Cocker, seen here first in the 1880s. He's quite a different dog today. He derives his name from his skill with woodcock, but his popularity as a companion dog is legendary and has kept him right at the top of the polls for decades. For purposes of showing, the Cocker Spaniel is divided into 3 color varieties: black, party color, and Ascog. That last stands for any solid color other than black. Except for color, the standards for the 3 varieties are identical.
Look at that coat.
This is Black Cocker Spaniel, number 16.
A lot of work goes into these dogs too, Joe. And some of these dogs, a lot of these dogs work in the field, but chances are, if they did, they wouldn't have quite so much coat. Here's one of the owners, Mary Maloney, who's the director of training for the Honeywell Corporation. One of the great things about dog shows is we have people from all walks of life.
And they're willing to share their experiences. I spent a lot of time with the golden owners today. Really did.
Well, I think that's in keeping, of course, with the spirit of dog shows being an educational event.
And this is Ascog Cocker Spaniel, number 28.
Ascog stands for any solid color other than black.
Any solid color other than black.
This is an all-American breed, the Cocker Spaniel. It was developed in this country. We've had them on postage stamps.
Thank you, sir. Straight out and straight back, please.
And here, Mr. Clark's instructions. This dog has won world and international best in shows. Puerto Rico.
Watch him walk. It's easy to understand. Look at that. Look at that.
Athens Absolute, handled by Flavio Wernick. Top Cocker Spaniels in the country.
Good crowd on hand. Big crowd.
Thank you. Right around, please.
Well, the Cockers are always a popular dog because they're in the top 10 most of the time in AKC registration, so a lot of people have Cockers.
Different paddle wheels.
And this is Party Color Cocker Spaniel, number 23.
And the Party Color Cocker has 2 or more definite colors, and one of them has to be white. This is Cato. The American Spaniel Club, Joe, is the parent club for Cocker Spaniels, and it's the oldest dog-oriented organization in the U.S.
Straight out and straight back, please.
Started before the American Kennel Club in 1881. Now that doesn't beat the Westminster Kennel Club, but it does beat the American Kennel Club. The great thing about these dogs is that they're flying around the ring with their heads up, they're looking around, they're happy. You can see the tails going. They're excited to be here, and the crowd will turn them on.
That's the tip-off if the tail is gone, huh?
Well, that's a pretty good barometer. I like to say dogs smile and laugh with their tails.
The English Cocker is the descendant of the original English Spaniels reported in journals in the late 1300s. Over the years, the Spaniels, product of Spain, and hence the name, were broken down into 2 main lines, the water dogs and the land varieties. The Spaniel ancestral to this breed was of the land group. As the American version of the Cocker gained in popularity, it became necessary to define the English Cocker as a breed apart, and that was done in 1946. The English Cocker is somewhat larger and heavier boned, and has a distinctly different head. This is English Cocker, number 15.
A little unusual to see an English Cocker this color, Joe. They're usually coming kind of a blue roan. It's a beautiful young dog, a beautiful older dog, actually, Taffy, 7.5 years old.
Thank you, ma'am. Right around, please.
We had her 3rd and final litter of puppies at home that are 12 weeks old today, so Mom did pretty well.
The name Springer comes from the work this dog does in the field. It flushes or springs game, the true Spaniel field characteristic. The English Springer is another of the English Land Spaniel group and is in fact the largest breed in the lot. He was the rootstock from which most other spaniels we know today were derived. He's a fine all-around field hand and choice companion animal. He has been shown in this country since 1910. This is English Springer Spaniel, number 9.
The handler's outfit matches that brown almost perfectly. Like she's going to blend into it and get lost, so you don't see him like the good umpire. Only remember you when you make a mistake.
Well, sometimes the judge will use that to remind himself of the eyes. Remember the handler. This is Samantha. We did the Today Show the other day. This dog was the Good Morning America dog this week. The owners, Carl Blaine and Fran Sinceri, who co-owned the dog with Julie Gasso, told me that Good Morning America followed her around from the time she checked in at the hotel to her win this afternoon. There are the owners, Carl and Fran.
The rare field spaniel was once classified as a form of cocker spaniel, but was eventually set apart as a separate breed. The first developmental efforts with this breed did not do its reputation much good. That was in the late 19th century. The dog was low to the ground and heavy in build. That made him slow on most terrain, and the breed fell into disfavor. It didn't do much better in the show ring. Modern breeders have corrected those faults, however, and have put back together a useful and handsome spaniel that is well balanced and a good performer. This is Field Spaniel, number 16.
These are great little dogs, Joe. Bit rare. They're a slow and steady hunter. Pretty good in the thick brush.
Thank you, sir.
Got the sad eyes, though.
You know, the sound bite that the Field Spaniel Society of America gives you, they like to travel, tend to snore, and can have a very diverse vocal range.
The Irish Water Spaniel is one of the oldest Water Spaniel breeds. He was imported from Ireland 10 years before the American Civil War and was one of the breeds recognized early in this country. He is the tallest of all the Spaniels. Because of his strength in the water, he's often used as a waterfowl retriever. His somewhat clownish appearance should not foster a mistaken impression. This is a first-class field dog and is very serious about his profession. This is Irish Water Spaniel, number 6.
I loved our feature on Ben the Akita last night, built around his 8 consecutive breed wins, and that's the standard against which we compare everything else now. This dog has had 4 consecutive Westminster breed wins. His father was best in show here 19 years ago.
The Sussex Spaniel gets its name from the county of Sussex in England, where it almost certainly originated as one of the oldest distinct Spaniel breeds. The dog is a slow, close-working gun dog that is especially valuable in heavy brush. The serious countenance of the Sussex belies a cheerful and affectionate nature, as demonstrated by its almost constantly wagging tail. The Sussex should be a rich golden liver color, and its overall appearance should be long, low, and heavily built.
Long, low, and heavily built, he said.
But did you see those eyes? You know, I got a call from the accountant today, and I said they looked too serious. Now here's another one. He's ready to put pencil to paper, this one, I'll tell you. Look how sad he looks. He's all business.
Yeah, that tail's wagging. You know any accountants whose tails wag like that?
No.
The Welsh Springer is relatively rare in this country, but traces back to Wales and the west of England for centuries. He's probably one of the oldest of all recognizable Spaniel breeds, in fact, and was described at least as far back as 1570. He was red and white in the 16th century, just as he is today. His popularity as a show dog turns to about the turn of this century, and has always been thought of as a splendid showman as well as a good, reliable field dog in almost any climate. This is Welsh Springer Spaniel, number 19.
The dog's a little smaller than the English Springer, Joe, but it's always red and white. Has a little smaller than the Springer, but a little longer body. Somewhat rare. The Welsh Springer Spaniel. This is Darby.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Right around, please.
Sandy Roth and handled by Candy Carswell Voris, 3rd-generation dog show person.
The Vizsla is far and away Hungary's most famous hunting dog. His background is almost certainly hound and some Transylvanian pointing dogs. He is a typical mixed-purpose European gun dog, expected to hunt and track hare, point and retrieve upland game birds, and waterfowl. He was not really known in this country until after World War II, except by specialists in this group. He's now widely known and respected. This is Vizsla, number 25.
Corky Vroom, who's the handler here, told me that this dog ate half a pot roast last night off the kitchen counter. The owners had to call out for pizza, but the dog was happy.
But it's a show dog. He's not supposed to do that, is he?
Thank you, sir.
No, well, our show dogs are real dogs. There's one of the owners. Dr. Kit Marshall, actually, the owner.
The Weimaraner was developed in Germany late in the last century. It originally was used on large game like wolves and bears, or at least was down from breeds that had done that kind of work. But the larger game animals became more and more scarce, and this superior field worker was adapted to upland birds. He is as good as a water retriever as he is from the uplands, and has a characteristically soft retriever mouth. This is Weimaraner, number 18.
He's looking around, checking the crowd like he's got an attendance clause in his contract.
You always had those, didn't you?
Yeah, sure. I had to show up. That was my attendance clause.
That's Grady. The dog's name is Gray Eagle. The dog, the Weimaraner, has always been called the Gray Ghost, a versatile, beautiful water dog. He's Pot's handler.
The wire-haired pointing griffon is a breed from the Netherlands that became popular with French and German sportsmen. He came to this country about a century ago. He has two jobs. He points and then he retrieves game. He has an excellent nose and is a powerful swimmer. He does not have a wide following in this country, but the people who have had a chance to know him favor him as a loyal and versatile field companion. This is wire-haired pointing griffon, number 8.
Here's owner-handler Vicky Foster with Keene, who's the first AKC champion and master hunter in breed history. They can do more than just be pretty.
Man, when you see him run around, you know what a tough job it is to judge him. We're going towards Best in Show. We'll be right back.
You wouldn't consider boxing for a living, would you?
Tom Cruise, Far and Away, February 26th.
Is that a great shot or not? For more information about the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show, including group results, breed information, and the chance to test your judging skills, you visit USA's website at www.usanetwork.com/dog/. Now, later on, we're going to tell you how you can take part and have some fun playing judge. Of course, we have the official judge who will judge Best in Show, but we're going to give you a chance to play along and, well, just have some fun.
There's your shot, Joe. Tell me dogs don't smile. Is that dog smiling at us or what? Houston Clark, the sporting group judge, is pulling out his cut, what we call the cut. Houston grew up in Tennessee. You can hear some of that in his voice. Grew up on a horse farm. So I think we're off to the races here in the sporting group.
Where's the golden?
Well, he got the golden. He got the golden out there.
Where?
It's about 4 or 5 dogs down the line, right there.
Oh, I see him.
He's watching our monitor too. He knew that dog was smiling at America. See, we've got some website votes there.
Okay, folks.
Here's Houston,
Back
one of the
against the boxes,
fine
please.
gentlemen in our sport.
Over against the
nice
boxes.
man.
Let me see you
He
pointing
and his
around,
wife,
please.
very
All the way
active as
around.
handlers for a lot of years.
Yes, please.
Here's, I've always wanted to say this, Peter with the pointer. One of the top sporting dogs in the country last year.
Make sure pick it home.
Here, there's the golden.
There it is.
All right. Right around, please.
Here's the Gordon. The crowd picks it up a notch here for Kenny Murray and Kirby. You can forget the great Best in Show he made last year.
Listen to this crowd.
Parker.
The judge tries to shut all that stuff out of his mind. He's judging the dogs, not the crowd's reaction to them. It's always dangerous to judge from ringside. We all love to do it, but until you put your hands on the dogs, you don't know exactly what's in that package. Working his way down the line one more time. Handsome-looking gentleman, Mr. Clark.
Sir, bring your Gordon out here, please.
It's not much of a surprise to me, Joe. There's the English setter, the Ascot cocker, and the pointer. What's that? Peter get a 4th place in this group. That's pretty good to go with his first last night. Our expression in the dog show world would be the first available placement was second because this Gordon was going to win this group all the way. It's a great show dog.
There you go, sir.
There you go, sir. The Gordon, the English setter, the Ascot cocker, and the pointer. What a nice group. Great bunch of dogs. I love the sporting group.
Oh, great bunch of dogs. But my Golden didn't make it.
You know, I'm with you, Joe. I love those Goldens.
Okay. We're off and running, as David just said. And remember, you're going to hear it a lot. Best in Show is what we're going for. We'll be right back.
In my family, as every family, there